Hey guys, welcome to my video. So I wanted to make a video to share with you guys all of the homeschooling curriculum that I use for my third grader. My daughter, she's 9 years old. She's currently in third grade. This is her second year of homeschooling. She was actually homeschooled her kindergarten year, and then she went to public school her first and second grade year, and then for third grade she was in public school for just a few weeks before we decided to pull the plug and get back in with homeschooling. I do want to make a video sharing with you guys a little bit about that journey and like why all those different decisions were made. So a video on that is to come in the future, but real quick, I just wanted to share with you the homeschooling curriculum that we are using for my third grader for the 2023-2024 year. Again, she is in third grade. I'm gonna go in the order of what we do. So, and as I'm realizing, I actually forgot one thing downstairs, so I will be right back. Okay. Also wanted to note really quickly, please don't mind this homeschool room bookshelf behind me. It is a complete disaster. These are all of my children's books. Not my children's books, like my kids, their books. I keep all of like my nicer books and ones that I might let my daughter borrow downstairs on my own bookshelf because, yeah, no need to explain that, right? Okay, so every morning the first thing that we start off doing, my daughter and I sit downstairs at the dining room table together and we watch World Watch News on the iPad. For those who don't know what World Watch is, it's basically like a Christian news source for families, so it's pretty kid friendly. Sometimes they do have some stories on it that they will share that aren't so kid friendly, and they'll always share a warning, so so that way you can kind of filter what your child, the information that they take in. But we really love World Watch. My daughter really enjoys that time, and it's a great way for her to get some information about what's going on in the world in a productive and appropriate way. So we watch World Watch News. So after we watch World Watch News, we then go ahead and do our Answers book series. So these are Answers for Kids. This is the second book of, I think actually this is volume 3. So I think there are maybe 9 in the series. I'm not really sure. We have them all. They're just downstairs. But we've made it so far to the 3rd book. And again, my daughter really enjoys doing these. What this is basically a starter for apologetics for children, which is something I really enjoy learning about. My family and I, although we're not new believers in Christ by any means, we are kind of newer to the Christian faith as far as understanding what the gospel is, how Jesus wants us to live our lives, and so forth. That's not really something my husband and I were taught as children, and we really didn't live the first part of our marriage or our relationship together as strong Christians. So we're kind of within the last year kind of building that up, which was a big push for us to get back into homeschooling. But again, I'll tell that story at another time. But I really love Answers, and I really enjoy the Answers for Kids because that is just helping me equip my daughter with apologetics, something that I never knew until an adult, and she's going to be well equipped. My son as well will be well equipped with apologetics at an early stage in his life, in her life. So after we do the Answers, we then have been working on this Long Story Short, which is a 10-minute devotionals to draw your family to God. These are really awesome. Every single day of the week there is kind of a look back at the previous day, or the previous days of the week and what those stories were about. Then you read a Bible verse and kind of talk about it. What I really like about this, especially for like me who probably doesn't have the best understanding of the Bible yet, since like I said, I'm kind of new to really studying the Christian faith and the gospel and the Bible. So it's really awesome to have the Think About It Some More section, which is after you read the Bible verses. It basically tells you exactly what to talk about with your child, and then it has some talk about it prompts as well with the answers included, so you don't have to really be a Bible scholar or anything to know any of this stuff. I am by no means a Bible scholar, so this is Long Story Short, and I got this off Amazon. After we finish our Long Story Short, we then move into our Bible study, which we are using Not Consumed Ministries foundation study. So this is the junior version. They have, sorry, you couldn't even see that, not that it matters. Anyway, this is the juniors version. They have they have 3 different tiers, I think. So like for younger kids, then like middle years, and then teenagers even. So we are in the New Testament section of this. We've already finished the Old Testament book. This one's the New Testament book, and I really like this just because it's a kid-friendly way. I'm not going to show you one with her writing on it because I feel like that's kind of personal, but so this will be the next one, 1 and 2 Thessalonians. We are going to be working on this next week, and the only issue that I have with this, while I do love it and it's working well for us, I don't really know how to explain it. I think basically, since we don't have a lot of knowledge about the Bible, and I'm kind of still learning all this stuff with my daughter, I feel like, and this is also the first Bible study that my daughter's ever done, it's kind of difficult for her, just to get to the point, it's kind of difficult for her, just because we've never studied the Bible before this together. So although I've done some Bible studies alone without her with other adults and other women, it's just, again, I'm not a Bible scholar, and the Bible is hard to understand, especially when you are 9 years old and your mom's not probably the most knowledgeable on it, but we're working through it together. And I think I am almost sure that there is a parent's guide to this, and I didn't get it. So when I buy another Bible study for her from Not Consumed, I am going to make sure I get the parent's guide, because I think that would help. And we don't always have issues. Like, I would say 7-8 times out of 10 we don't have any issues, but there are some questions that it asks, and sometimes it wants you to get a certain chunk of information from the Bible verses, and we don't always quite understand. So that's the only issue that I have with this. Otherwise, I really love it, and I'll just get the parent guide next time. So after we finish out all of our Bible studies, our devotionals, we then move on to history. We don't do history every single day of the week. We really only do it like 2 or 3 times a week, and we are currently using the Good and the Beautiful's Year 1 history. I bought the PDF version of this and then printed them all out, so I keep it, that's why it's hole punched, I keep it in a binder. So as you're gonna see, I do use a lot of core curriculum from the Good and the Beautiful. I really like it. However, I do think that they are redoing their history curriculum, so I don't think this is available anymore. But for the most part, we like it. There's a game, a Keys of History game that my daughter really enjoys. She likes playing that game. But it's just a normal history. Just a normal history course. I am looking into the future, being actually next year, so her 4th grade year, I'm looking into actually using the Tuttle Twins history. And if you don't know about that, I will share if we go that route. But there's been a lot of fun things in the Good and the Beautiful history course. There's been a lot of fun activities, some baking and things that we've done like that that my daughter's really enjoyed. So it's fine. after we finish up the history course at the dining room table, we are then done downstairs, and at that point my daughter comes upstairs by herself to start working on some independent work before I join her for her core curriculum. So normally she does 3 things by herself, the first one being Explode the Code. She is on the 4th book of this. She's done obviously the 3 before that. There are 8 books total. They're on the back here. And Explode the Code is just basically a lot of basic phonics mastery things. So it'll show you pictures of items, and then you will have to circle which one which word is associated with the picture that it shows. It also does a lot of breaking up of words and compound words. I will say that Explode the Code is really easy for my daughter, but my daughter is a pretty advanced reader, so I make her keep doing this just to build those foundations and just make sure that everything, you know, just everything stays sound as she progresses through her reading levels. But she does kind of like roll her eyes a little bit at having to do this, just because it is kind of easy for her. But if you have a struggling reader, I do recommend Explode the Code. Like I said, I think she did the first one her kindergarten year and maybe started the second one, and then once we started homeschooling again in the 3rd year, she finished those and is now on the 4th. She just started the 4th within the last couple of days. So definitely a lot of people have used this, so I do recommend it still. And even though it is a little bit easier for her, like I said, I make her keep going with it just to make sure that those reading foundation is strong. Her reading foundation is strong. So she does Explode the Code, and then she does her Good and the Beautiful handwriting. She did this same exact, or not the same exact book, but she did use the Good and the Beautiful in kindergarten. It is the curriculum that I use to teach her to read in kindergarten, so she is familiar with using the Good and the Beautiful handwriting. Like I said, she used it in kindergarten. This year, in her 3rd grade year, there is a lot of cursive in it, which has been fun for her, so she's really enjoyed learning cursive. She has pretty good handwriting for a 9-year-old, I think, so I would say that it is working well. What I really liked about the Good and the Beautiful handwriting is that there are always like little puzzles or coloring activities for them to do. Like here, she was prompted to draw all of these different potted plants, so I love seeing her little drawings that she does, and those really help to develop those fine motor skills in their hands, which is what is needed to be a strong handwriter or have nice penmanship. So love that. And then after she finishes her handwriting, she moves on to her logic puzzles. I've been using this logic workbook for Gritty Kids. It says ages 6 through 10, and they're just different puzzles and stuff for them that obviously they have to use logic to figure out. Some of them are relatively easy, some of them are quite difficult, and she doesn't really like doing these because sometimes they are a little bit hard and they cause her to think, but I think that developing her logic skill is obviously going to be helpful. I don't need to explain that anymore. So she does do one of these every day. Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're more challenging, but if she needs, I will help her work through those. So after my daughter does those 3 independent work, at that point I'm usually up here in the homeschool room / playroom with her, and then at that point we start her language arts. Just like in kindergarten, the first year that I homeschooled her, we do use the Good and the Beautiful. We use that for all of our core curriculum. I really like the Good and the Beautiful, although I haven't used any other curriculum at this point to compare it to, not any paper curriculum anyway, but I really like it. It is a God-focused curriculum, so you know, we talk about God a lot, talk about, you know, the amazing creation that he has built for us to live in, so that's really great. I also love how there's a lot of like this was a one that we did that was on an essay workshop on Switzerland. So they use a lot of geography incorporated in the lessons. Also a lot of really beautiful artwork incorporated in the lessons. So you're really getting that all around, you know, science is built into it, geography, art, all of those things are built into the language arts curriculum, and the math is the same exact way. So I really enjoy that. I also really like how every single day you are prompted with exactly what you need to start the lesson. So there is very minimal planning with all of the Good and the Beautiful's curriculum. I don't have to plan weeks out in advance of like what I need and print a bunch of stuff off. Everything is really right here, ready to go. Also, there is an app associated with language arts, and I think some of the upper level math courses as well, but there's an app that has videos on some, not all, but some of the lessons that are in here. So if we come to a lesson and it might let us know that you can use the app in place of teaching the lesson, so you don't have to read any of this if you didn't want to. They could just watch the video on the app, and then you wouldn't have to go through this entire lesson. We normally we'll watch the video, and then we'll also review together with what the lesson asks us to do. After you teach the lesson, then there's normally a lesson practice where they practice what they just learned, and then there's also an independent work section after every lesson practice. So what that independent work normally does is it kind of touches on past things that they may have learned and so forth. Additionally, with this book, I'm not sure about the other levels, but with the 3rd level course book, there is a spelling practice book, and this is actually, there is some spelling practice in this, yes, but what it is actually a lot of spelling rules practice, so that's kind of fun. We don't have to use this every single lesson, and it tells you when you need it, so that's makes it a lot easier. And there's also riddles. Every time she has to use this, there's a riddle, so my daughter loves that. That's the first thing she does when she opens up to the lesson. For that, she has to read the riddle, and we always get a kick out of that. Additionally, with the Language Arts Level 3 course, there are 4 books total that came with the course that we read together. So it's like a read aloud, and it will go over different reading spelling rules at the beginning of each chapter, and you will review some harder to read words, and then it literally transfers back and forth between parent student. So it's normally like a page or a half a page. Parent reads and then the student reads, and that's how the entire book is. So that is fun. That's a fun way for us to read together and share a story, and she's enjoyed all of the stories that we've read together so far in that. And I believe all of those stories are written by the creator of The Good and the Beautiful, Jenny Phillips, and they all teach wonderful values, and we really enjoyed them. So can't recommend Good and Beautiful enough. Which brings me to the last thing that we do in our school day, which is math. Right now we are in Math 3. Again, Good and the Beautiful curriculum. We used Math 1 in kindergarten, so I didn't do the kindergarten math. I went straight to the Math 1 based on the pre-test that they had online at the time. But then just to make sure whenever we restarted our homeschooling journey that my daughter was on track, I I just went ahead and ordered Math 3 for her 3rd grade year, just so everything was good there and we can again build those foundations. So just like the language arts, math is open and go as well. You usually have 1 page of lesson. So they start each day off with a mental math challenge or a calendar challenge, and you just read exactly what it says to do. It says it'll denote exactly, read to the child, and then you just read it, work through the practice problems together. You have a section of lesson practice, and then review and activities, which is kind of like the independent work section. So super easy, super open and go. My daughter has no problem grasping any of the concepts so far that she is learning in language arts or in math. Everything has been good so far, so hopefully, praying to God that we don't have any issues, but I'm sure that we will, because this is only our 2nd year of homeschooling, and she's in 3rd grade after all, so who knows what those higher years have in store for me. But we really enjoy The Good and the Beautiful. I highly recommend them to anybody who asks me about homeschooling. I can't sing their praises enough. And if you have any suggestions for any of the other things, like if you have a suggestion on another curriculum that I should look into, or if you have any suggestions on a good Bible study for someone like us, please let me know in the comments. Or if you have any questions, also let me know. Sorry, I am still new to filming, so I feel like I'm a little all over the place, and I'm super out of breath, and I don't know if it's because I'm talking really fast, because normally I do talk kind of fast, so that might be something I need to work on too. So if you have any tips on that, definitely let me know, or any constructive criticism, I am open to it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to talk to you guys again soon. Bye.